Hi guys. Um, it's been a little minute, you know. I think my life is a series of trial and errors, as is a lot of other people's. But I tried the Monday Night Live thing. In the past I've tried to do the recording thing. I think the number one thing that I've learned is my engagement with the community and with people. I would have myself in this hermit mode where it's I don't really interact with much people aside from my few that I'm familiar with or regularly, but I'm in a space where I've been putting myself out there more, realizing that people do enjoy my gifts, my readings, my messages. So even if it starts off small, I'm just going to do my best to be consistent while also just kind of figuring out what works best for me, my schedule, my methodology. I'm still working out the kinks. So this is another trial. So I'm going to start. My goal is to upload on Wednesdays. It doesn't always have to be recorded on Wednesdays. My messages are timeless most of the time. It can be anywhere from the same day, the next day, 6 months, a year, etc. down the line. I don't try to focus on specific messages, i.e. love messages, anything of that nature. I try to focus on self-empowerment, healing. I mean, I do love comes up, a relationship comes up, I'll speak on things like that. I'm just saying that sometimes people have the idea or the notion that all tarot readers are the same, or that a lot of people do the same things when it comes to readings. I kind of let spirit guide me. And that's why I'm saying I'm still in the process of learning how to utilize my gift for the highest good of everyone. So I'm going to start. I have my tea. I'm going to start by cleansing and just setting the tone with my sound bowl, my yoni one. And I have some incense burning, and I'm going to see what comes out, any messages. Once I start recording, anything can be taken as a message. Trial and error. Let me write that down. Trial and error. And we are in Mercury retrograde. So there's mishaps, technological difficulties, communications, any form of that expression, things just kind of a little wonky, but also just things slowing down, so slowing down for introspection and learning. So it all ties in. The message is there. That's the first. Technological difficulties. Why am I saying it that way? Technical difficulties. Technical. Chronological difficulties. There's things and by difficulties, like I said, I just mean some sort of fracture or misalignment or what can be perceived. Because right now, even though things seem a bit chaotic or misaligned, it could be just setting itself to be right in, divine timing, be right in the place. What is it? Be right in place. Yes. And that's one more thing before I start. That's another thing. I ramble, I talk, but the message is I channel. So even though I seem very quirky and awkward, I am, but that's a part of my gift, speaking and just getting things out, even if it doesn't seem cohesive. Some people it will hit and you'll understand and you'll connect. Other people, it's gonna go over your head. If it fits, what is it? If it don't apply, let it fly. So let's get started. I'm actually very excited to do this because this is one area and one thing that I just know is my thing. I got it like that. We're going to start by pulling an oracle, my oracle deck, the Kali Oracle Guide, Kali Oracle deck. This is the mother deck. This is the one that tells the whole read before I even pull the clarifiers. So, you know, I think I'll pull some of my other stuff too, of course. But let's see what the overall message is. You know, whenever you start anything, it's going to be, whenever you're new to something or you're starting anything new, no matter how many times you've tried, it's going to be messy. You know, when you're learning to walk, you stumble, you trip, you fall down, you get up, you have a weird gait, you know, the way that you walk. Like, there's awkwardness in the beginning as you find your footing. So if any of you are starting something new, a new project, or putting yourself out there and you're like self-conscious or just hyper aware of yourself, you know, it's natural. And anybody that's really true to themselves, they're gonna let you know that. They're gonna let you feel safe enough to make a mess because they've been there. And some people, you know, they're also working through their own things, you know. So it's not everybody has the capacity to make you feel safe in your mess. Some people are also in their mess stage, and sometimes it's just kind of like these two messes aren't compatible. But there are some people where it's kind of like you guys make a beautiful mess. And that leads me right into this oracle. I'm sorry. See, it's been a little minute, so I'm a little rusty. Number 10, Kundalini Shakti. So whenever I see this card, I see a completion, a unit. Let me hold it up for you. A union, a unit. So two people coming together, duality turned unity. Just working together, opposites, you know, where one lacks, the other fills in the blanks. You know, just your divine and feminine nature coming together to be cohesive and to work together and to create a beautiful mess, you know. And it might be perceived, just like with the Mercury retrograde, as I said, it might be perceived as a mess, but it's not. Like, it makes a lot of sense to you. It's like one of those people who is like the method of my madness, you know. Some people can work in a mess or just know where everything is when things look chaotic to someone else. But once it's cleaned up in the way that someone else likes it, like order, like alphabet, whatever the case is, it doesn't make sense to them. It's like, no, I have this here for a reason. This makes sense to me. So just going into this message, there's a lot of messages in here. But one thing is about compatibility and finding people who kind of go with, like, they fit into your flow. They have another wave, they have their own flow, but it just works together and it makes magic, music, beauty, whatever form of art. Even just bringing it to yourself internally, you found a way to connect your opposing sides. So your logical side might want a certain way of being, while your artistic side might want a different way, but you found a way to make it work. You're like, listen, my artistic side doesn't like to be told when and how to create, but your logical side likes structure and routine. So you find a way to take care of your priorities, your disciplines, while creating and leaving space. It's kind of like, listen, I'm not going to tell you what to do while you're in your space, but this is your space. So you'll have, you know, take, you know, laundry. I'll just give you an example. Laundry. Also, when I channel, I think I said this already, but when I channel, I just let me do it. Let me run. Yeah, so you'll be like, all right, in the morning, go to the gym, do this, blah. But between 12 and 3, that's my free time to dance, create, whatever comes up. And I allow that space to be creative. Doesn't have to be, you know, whatever works for you and your schedule. But like I said, trial and error. So that might be a thing. You're trying to figure out a routine through trial and error. Yeah, it's nothing to it but to do it. Just start somewhere. So also, like I said, unions and partnerships. So when you have the union within you, you're going to attract that outside of people. You're going to attract that outside of you, because now that you have a sense of completion or an idea of what it looks like to work with yourself, you can work with other people. So you're attracting partnerships, men, women, lovers, friends, in different areas. You're creating anything when you're working with someone else is a relationship. You know, sometimes we think relationship only applies, like the term relationship only applies to romantic situations. But when I think about relationships, I think about it as the very literal sense. We are in a relationship, whether it's business, again, friendship, I don't know, whatever capacity it is, teammate. So when you hear me use that term, think broad, however it applies to your situation. It could also just mean, it doesn't have to mean a super deep or consistent relationship. It could just mean the way you know somebody. Again, just to clarify, because sometimes we look a little too deep into things, and the message applies on so many levels. So this is also, like I said, new beginning. So because this is new, I know sometimes we see the messages. I'm gonna try to keep this short. I'm gonna try to keep this under an hour. We talk about sometimes, you know, how hard it is to be in a healthy relationship after you've had so many failed or unhealthy / toxic relationships. If this is your first new healthy, or you're just walking to an era of maturity, healthy relationships, it's still going to be challenging. You're still going to have to learn how to navigate these relationships, because there's no cookie cutter, one size fits all when it comes to relationships. Every person is different. You're still, especially when you're in the process of learning yourself, you're going to learn about yourself through the errors. You know, you're going to learn about the things that you don't like just as much as you're going to learn about the things that you do like. And I think I will only say, my only advice for that is that, you know, when we don't like something, we automatically think or categorize it as bad. I cannot stand this, or I cannot have this in my life. There are limitations, there are boundaries, there are, like I said, limits to things, but also understanding that everything is not going to be good, everything is not going to be sunshine, everything is not always going to be smooth flowing, it's not always going to be harmony. There are going to be misalignments and dysfunctions, and if two people are willing, this is a message that I said like maybe 2 weeks ago, if two people are willing to have a union, that's what's going to make it work. That's going to be the glue, because you guys are both putting the effort to figuring it out versus just letting it like, all right, boom, like, you know. So yeah, that's one message. And it you know, it also comes with honoring yourself. You know, everything is not meant for you to put in work to try to make work. Everything is not meant for you to fight to make work. This is where, and this is why I say my messages are about self-empowerment, because even though I'm going to be doing these things regularly, and I would love for you guys to join me and to listen, I want you to listen to yourself first. I want you to build a relationship with yourself so that you can trust yourself and your own judgment, because I can't tell you the decisions you should be making. I can't say whether something is good or bad, because I'm not living and I don't have to live with the consequences of your actions. So first and foremost, build a relationship with yourself, your own intuition, your own higher self, your own version of God. However God shows up in your life through religion or spirituality, that's who and how you should be making a relationship with. If I said that right. Secondly, then I would say, you know, listen and take what you will, you know, take things with a grain of salt. You know, put it in your back pocket for later, maybe, you know, just listen, you know, because you never know what might apply. And even if you don't take it in this moment, you might realize later on, like, damn, you know what, that was the case for this, whatever. So I do see teamwork here. I see teamwork to help overcome a challenge, because, you know, It's kind of like when you work with friends versus you just working at a job you don't really care for people. And even working with like your own friends, like getting friends hired at a job that you work at, it's even so much better, even though that kind of sometimes you slack on the work. But I see here that it's like there's some type of challenge, like life is hard. And it's so much easier, so much more enjoyable when you have people that you love, you know, like love is the magic. So I see that, you know, connections are so important for this leg or this time that we're in to help each other climb our own mountains, because there's 3 pentacles here. And you see the mountain, and you see how like each of the pentacles, which could also represent a person, are at a different point of the mountain. So everyone is going to have a different struggle or a different obstacle at one point or another. And when one person is up, that person can help somebody that's down, vice versa. And when they're all down, they could try to think together, how can we get out of this? So yeah, this is about communication, working together, teamwork, rebuilding, what they said, like relationship repair, conflict repair. So yeah. Yes. And this card has been coming out so much for me. The Page of Wands. This is about going on a journey. Let me just make sure I'm trying to keep mindful of the time. Going on a journey, being very curious, trusting yourself, using your own inner compass, and taking those risks. You know, like I said, sometimes somebody will be like, oh, that was bold of you, but it worked out, you know, or it will be bold of you and you fuck up and you fail. Excuse me, I'm gonna try not to curse. You know, so this is about taking those risks, trusting people, and taking action. Like not just sitting there thinking about it, not sometimes things, and I say this, listen, I may make a lot of mistakes, but the least I can say is that I do things. You know, I can be shy, I can be awkward, I can overthink, but one thing I do is I do. I make a fool out of myself a lot of the time. So don't be afraid to make a fool out of yourself, because that's how you're going to learn. You know, that's being real and authentic. So this is definitely talk about your passions. Like go after your passions, like stumble, like make the mistake, and you don't know who you're going to attract with that. Because I think not sometimes, we live in a world that people are like so busy trying to put on a facade, trying to look good, try to act like everything they, you know, whatever the case is, people like to see a little real. They like to see the little cracks, you know. Yeah, these cards are really repetitive these days for me. Well, I mean, it's the energy. Duh. I see a sense of like stubbornness, greed. Like, yes, I'm doing these like crabs. Yeah, trying to hold on to something literally is restraining you. So this looks like, you know, somebody's like, it's mine. It's mine. You know, it's all of these are mine. I'm protecting them. Like, it's like overprotection, cleanness, stubbornness. Like you're kind of like what they say, like cutting off your nose to smite your face a little bit. But this is also like boredom and discontentment. So, but this is creating a sense of anxiety, or vice versa. The anxiety is creating the sense of overprotect. Like it's triggering you to tighten up. Like, so think of your muscles. Like you want to loosen up, you want to be flexible, you want to drop your shoulders, you want to relax your jaw. You like whatever this thing is that's creating or triggering you, it's only going to create a domino effect. Like it's not going to, being tense and overprotective and holding on to something is not going to solve the problem. It's only going to exacerbate the situation. So if there is a challenge, think problem solving versus, you know, pessimistic. Oh, I'm done for. I failed. You know, like if you tried something and you failed, you applied to something, like think outside the box. Okay, what can I learn from this situation? I know next time they're looking for this. I know next time to respond better to this. Instead of like closing up and thinking because you failed, like thinking so negatively about yourself or being self-conscious and, you know, all these things. Loosen up. We make mistakes. You know, that is a part of the learning. That's a part of the journey. You're at the beginning. The page is at the very beginning. You tried something because you were curious, you realized you didn't like something, or you realized something new about yourself, or something validated you. Like you realize there's a realization here, because that's the whole point of the process, is learning something. So yeah, this thing might be causing you to tense up. We need you to relax. So look into some ways to kind of let go of a situation, an emotional situation at that, because it's triggering you emotionally. So just kind of like breathe through it, do some movement, stretching, because if you're tense, your body's going to hold on to it. You're going to feel it in your shoulders, because, let it go. Moving forward, we have the Ace of Wands and the King of Wands. This is a King of Wands in his element. You know, he's a charismatic. He's like, listen, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to apologize later. He's not like really going to sit here and overthink it. But that's the thing. He's also very like sensual. Like the wands is fire. It's the sacral chakra. It feels its way through life. That's what I'm trying to say. You feel your way through life. I feel my way through life. And that even sometimes our feelings are wrong. Sometimes we misinterpret our feelings. So maybe the feelings might not be wrong, but the way that we interpret it, or the way that we've learned to connect our emotions to certain situations, are what causes the miscommunications or misconstrued things. But this King of Wands with this Ace of Wands is in his element. He's like, I got the magic stick. So 50 Cent. Think about 50 Cent. Honestly, I think 50 Cent's doing great. He got all these shows, these creativity. Even though he's a Cancer. But this is also Aries season, springtime. This is the fertility. This is that awakening, that energy. So if you just feel like, yo, I want to start this out, like you have that newfound energy, whether it's a new project or an old project that you want to renew or get back to, this is that time. We're in that whirlwind of power. Like you just feel like I can do it. You feel so, there's a pride here, and that's the King of Wands. This is the stick, walk quietly with a big stick. King of Wands, I wouldn't say is that kind of personality, but maybe he is, because the kings are like the mature, like they've mastered. These are the master of their elements, the kings. But this is like, look at my gigantic stick. This is very, masculine and egotistical in a way, but it's also healthy. It's in the nature. Like you can't tell a tree not to be a tree. That's the kind of energy it is. And again, this is still falling into the message of learning, and this, because you went from page to king. That's because it goes page, knight, queen, king. So there's progression here. So you started something, you were curious, you made your mistakes, you're working with people to get to a point of mastery. This is a part of the process. If you are learning how to master your emotions, there are going to be times that your emotions get the best of you. If you are trying to master communication, there are going to be times that you say the wrong thing, that you stutter, that you stumble over your words, you don't say the right words. If you're trying to master anything, skateboarding, skating, you are going to fall down. That is a part of the process. I cannot emphasize that enough. So yeah, this is right now. You have the magic. This is not really the magic touch, but I'm going to just say it because that's the energy that came to me. This is the magic touch. Like if you have the idea, you have the energy, the willpower to make it happen. You have the charisma, the energy, the connections. Like you talk to the right people and they will get you through those doors. This is that type of energy. Yeah, this is self-confidence. Like I said, look at my gigantic stick. Healthy egos are necessary. You need to be confident in yourself. You need to big yourself up. You need to validate yourself. You need to do the things that some people would say are narcissistic. But narcissism is just an extreme case of confidence, right? It's a sense of delusion because you're so far. Everything is a scale. So if you're balanced, you're in the middle. You're like, I'm confident in myself. I know what I have to offer. And sometimes it could be a little bit, over from the middle. You'll be a little bit more. But again, life is not going to just stay in the middle all the time. You're not going to stay balanced all the time. You're going to go from extremes to anywhere in between. 25 minutes. Oh gosh. Yeah, that's that power. Like I feel it. Like I was loud, right? So, and this looks like a 10 here. This is amplification. This is love, rose quartz. This is clear quartz. So this looks like the 10, 10, 10, completion, just amplifying your heart chakra, amplifying your love of self, being graceful and compassionate with yourself so you can be there for others, so you understand that, listen, I fuck up, I make mistakes, I'm gonna extend that grace to someone else, you know. So and it's not to invalidate your feelings. When you're angry, when you're frustrated, whatever the case is, you have every right to feel those things. No one can tell you that you shouldn't. No one can tell you how to handle situations and people. But this is just more of a suggestion and a way of being. Like, just understand, you know. And again, understanding doesn't mean that you have to reconcile with people or to, you know, just understanding is for your sake, you know, because you can let go, you can detensify, you can relax. Yeah, so understanding is for your sake, because then you have a better understanding of the world, of yourself, of how people move and respond to you, you know. Even just somebody talking to someone last night, they said, I don't judge people. I go based off of how you receive me and how you respond to me. That's just it. That's literally life. That's literally life. It's how we perceive and receive the world and how we respond to it. Hold on. You know, my appreciation for Earl Grey is growing. You know, it was one of those things that I've always liked when I drank it, but I never sought it out. But today I sought it out. I said, you know, I'm gonna pick you. I choose you. Choices, relationships. That's the Lover's card, actually. You know, choosing. There's a divine intervention, especially with the Lover's card. There's like, God is sending you somebody. God is sending you people. God is always, you know, I'm not going to get into that conversation right now. This is an introduction. I don't want to ruffle any feathers right now. But long story short, if I say it in a way that is acceptable for other Christians or religious denominations, God is in you, right? And you are always magnetizing situations and people. Now, what you tend to focus on internally, especially the wounds, like whether you have a wound and you have your healed self, your wounded self versus your healed self, what you tend to focus more on or pour more energy into is the situations that are going to align with those things. So yes, we gravitated and magnetized or attracted certain people, but it's because of where the source that it magnetized it or whatever force is stronger within you. So just because you attracted it, is what I'm trying to say, doesn't necessarily mean it's supposed to last long term or to be in your life, for good. You know, sometimes we kind of think that this is meant to be and it means forever. No, meant to be means that this happened because you called it, because you have something to work through. Now, there are some people that come, you know this, for a reason, a season, and there are some people that you grow with. You know, a lesson that stops and a lesson that keeps going. There's different rounds and there's gray areas, you know. So then moving on, we have the Devil and the Eight of Cups. People get scared when they see this card or hear anybody, you know, as soon as you start talking about the devil, you know, people get scared. But with the Eight of Cups, it talks about walking away. So if it makes you feel better, the devil is about walking away from negative, self-sabotaging attachments, habits, addictions. So this is you saying, hey, I want more for myself. You know the quote, if you want something you've never had, you have to do things you've never done. If you have done the smoking, the drinking, the partying, and I mean in excess, because that's what the devil card means. It's excess. It's the extreme. I talked about narcissism. That's another correlation to the devil card. Extremes are the devil because it's not I wouldn't say natural or realistic, but it's just not conducive to a balanced environment. Balance is the highest good. Everybody has a different balance. Just like everybody has a different sense of God. But this is talking about what it means to you. This is why having this connection for yourself is very important. What it means to have balance in your life and what's extreme to you. me smoking in general me not smoking in general might be extreme to somebody. That might be like, listen, I like to engage in a little, I like to have a little drink here and there. Having recreational drinks or occasional drinks might be too much for one person. So you have to figure out what your balance is and what your limitations and boundaries are. So, but overall, this means you're walking away from the things that hold you back or self-sabotage the person you want to become, or the goals you're setting yourself for in the future. This also, like if you're walking away from addictions, this goes back to the Three of Pentacles, the overcoming challenges. For some people, it might be joining an AA or whatever you call the anonymous groups, like just having a support system. Because when you're cutting off something, you have to replace it with something else so that you're not so inclined, or it's not so hard to leave or remove it. Your body needs to you have to supplement it. So maybe looking into supplements. I already talked about stretching and moving, maybe even dancing. I talked about the creativity. Now we're talking about supplements, so things that you eat, you ingest in yourself to replace the addictions. If, for example, they talk about chocolate is a form of like a magnesium, like craving chocolate is a magnesium deficiency. Salt is anger, I think. Crunchy is anxiety, something of those natures. I'm not going to post it right now. So it's better off that you Google it and do the research. So looking into like your cravings and what they might mean, or what needs are not being met. So you're also walking away from, like I said, self-sabotaging, self-depreciation, not meeting your own needs. You're like, listen, I'm not, that's devil work. That's like, why are you destroying yourself? Why are you destroying yourself? So we're no longer like doing things that destroy ourselves. There are ways to enjoy in the physical and the material, because again, the devil correlates with material and physical worlds, earth. Capricorn energy, overworking. You're walking away from overworking. Your worth doesn't equal how much work you do physically. There's a lot of work we do mentally, emotionally, spiritually that does not get recognized in the physical. What was I saying? Destroying yourself. Again, yes. So any form of destroying or self-destruction is being left behind moving forward. You're working smarter, not harder. And that's also what the King of Wands is. He takes action. He works smarter, not harder. Don't be mad at me because I found an easier way out. An easier way out does not mean lazy. It just means I'm using my wits. I'm using my energy, my essence to work in my favor. Work in my favor. So now we have the Ten of Pentacles and the Death card. And yes, I'm gonna wrap this up soon. Yeah, the Ten of Pentacles and the Death card. That's for some people, they might be getting some type of inheritance from a death surrounding them. Yeah. Like in a very literal sense, it could be like, yeah, like someone died, they passed on, they left behind something. But this also can talk about because you're ending the self-sabotage, your idea around finances, so reshaping your mentality and your beliefs surrounding finances, wealth, and value, self-worth. Well, once you reshape that, you're coming into a windfall or like you're setting yourself up for success. This is long-term wealth. So your beliefs that you start believing and practicing now is what's going to be passed down to your children. The actions and the things that you set into place, the seeds you plant now, are going to be fruitful and feed the generations behind you and those around you, because it's not just a line. This is a circle as well. This is, let's say this is you, your roots, the seed, and then it's just spreading out, and it's a ripple effect. You're affecting those around you with your belief system. So the way that you talk to yourself, the way that you talk to your lovers and friends, the way that you express your needs, the way that you honor your needs, the way that you show up for yourself and set boundaries is the example for other people to treat you and to show up for you, you know. So yeah, trial and error with yourself first. Practice with yourself. Practice with people. Practice, and don't be upset when people don't have the capacity or their limitations or boundaries don't align with yours. It's just a matter of fact. It's not right or wrong. It's just, you're not my cup of tea. I can appreciate and get with people that can appreciate your flavor. This, for some people, Earl Grey might be too strong. I might steep it too long. For some other people, they're like, oh, I love the smell. Like, it's so relaxing, invigorating. Like, go with people that really enjoy your cup of tea or your cup of Hennessy, whatever. That's extreme. But whatever it is, who you are, your essence, you want to be surrounded by people who are willing to build with you. Look, the 3 of Pentacles to the 10 of Pentacles, that's growth. That's the only missing number there, because 10 take away 3 is 7. The 7 of Pentacles talks about protecting your garden. It talks about the hard work you put into it. Think about building a garden. It takes a lot of work and dedication and nurturing. And sometimes things die and they wilter and you feel like a failure. You're like, how can I not grow something, So think about that. But the people who are around you, when it starts, of course, you're going to grow people. Some people come in later in life, and it doesn't mean that they're fake. But there are people who start with you, and those are the people that you appreciate. Like, you really weathered the storm. You've climbed the mountain to end up in, like, nirvana, like this rainbow. And those are the people that you continue to build with in water. So, I'm going to just... Every time I stop, I'm like, damn, I was chatting. I'm chatting. I'm doing the work. Don't mind my wall. Once you have like something start peeling, you can't stop picking it. Side note. Don't self-destruct in that way too. Like, sometimes if you have like a picking, like nitpicking, don't nitpick. Again, extend grace. Some people have little quirks. Some people have imperfections. Don't make something bigger or worse than it is. Find a way to make it work. If you value their cup of tea, their essence, if you value the relationship, the partnerships, the friendships, the communication, like, if you value these things, like, there are issues, but the relationship and what you value, the worth has to be bigger than the problem. That's the only way it's going to work. The foundation has to be stronger than the problem. And sometimes foundations fall apart, but the relationship, we can build any foundation over. We can always boom, boom, boom. So, yeah, because like I said, home is not a place, it's a feeling. It's where the heart is. So wherever the heart is, we can move, we can change, we can grow, we can, as long as we want to stay in each other's essence or grow and come back to each other's essence, then that's how a relationship stays connected. Releasing steam. So definitely, like I said, releasing tension and pent up stress, pent up emotions, things that you're holding on to in the emotional body. Look into somatic healing. I forgot what they call that. EMP. I don't know. I've always figured it. But just activating movement, getting the lymphatic system. Get a facial. I do facials. DM me. If this is on YouTube, email me. Yeah, so you're going to come face to face with obstacles and challenges. You have to use your creativity and your passion and your willpower, your curiosity to find new ways to overcome it. You have to build with other people. You have to be optimistic. Being pessimistic is not going to solve anything. Walking away from self-destruction behaviors. Now I'm summarizing. walking away from self-sabotage and walking away from extremes, excess, walking away from nitpicking and valuing the problem over the person, inheriting skills and wisdom from people that came before you, and inheriting wisdom from endings. There's a lot of wisdom in beginnings and endings. You know, what did I learn from this? Summaries. You know, what did all of this tell me? So there's a lot of magic. Sometimes, you know, those settlement or what do you call them? Severance pay. So some people might be getting a severance pay if you're getting fired, and then rejection is redirection. You know, sorry if it hurts. I don't know how to. Let me not. This is what I'm saying. So a lot of people don't have or say things the way that everyone wants them to say, but a lot of times there are still good intentions. My intentions are that if something is ending, of course it may be painful, or you might have mixed emotions about it, or it might feel very uncomfortable. My only message here is that there's a lot of good that's going to come out of it. It happened for the highest good, you know, the benefit of everyone involved, you know. It's not for, like everything is not you fumbled me, this person was wrong. Sometimes things have to end for everyone to win. It's been windy. So I'm going to wrap this up because I actually have some other things to take care of. Wrap this up so you can take care of other things and certain things. Sometimes you have to, again, the logic side, you have to give things their space, their structure, the boundaries. This is where you end, so I can focus on this other thing now. And that's just life. So I'll be back and I will continue to figure out the best way to give these messages to you guys. Thank you. Peace.